Welcome back to Sun Up on 7. In case you missed it, Renata and I just had a dynamic coach talk as usual. But let's get into our first segment with football star, Commissioner of Police, because it had to give loan football, some tall football lies or truths. We don't know yet.
Fantasies.
We carry to score goals. Let's see if this is true today. We are here joined with Commissioner Chester Williams. Welcome back to the couch, Commissioner. How are you doing this morning?
Good morning, Brandon. Good morning, Renata. And good morning to your viewers and listeners across the country. And I am here in the house of my frenemy, right?
Assistant Commissioner.
You gonna get the uniform yet? When did you get uniform?
The man no gonna get you measurement.
Okay.
But I hear if the man go get measurement, you buy all the cloth from the car, so you have to make sure the man will last, right?
Whoa, big rock get dash. We was connected volleyball get dash, but they dash on rock instead. But Commissioner, all right, we want to talk about Easter protocols, safety protocols, sorry. But before that, could we have an update? What's happening in the police department? What good things happening recently?
Well, as you know, the police is mandated by law to enforce the laws of this country and by extension doing what we can to make the citizens of this country and those who visit as safe as they possibly can be. As much as I think that the Belizean people place too much of a burden on us where that is concerned, we still believe that it is rightly so due to our legal mandate. And in the discharge of that mandate, we certainly do call and require on the public to do their part in order to ensure their own personal safety as well. And we have seen in some extent where the people have not played their part in terms of being a part of the criminal justice system, because you know as an attorney that the justice system does not move on its own. It requires different components to move it. And the citizenry is certainly one of that component who comes to the police, and the police do investigation and then go to the court. Then the court determine guilt or innocence. Then finally we have the rehabilitation or incarceration aspect of it.
Right.
So we just would like that if we can get more participation from the people. But policing has changed over the years. We have seen the dynamics of policing change tremendously. We have seen that the propensity for people for violence have increased, as well as the tendency of people seeing things occurring and do nothing have also increased. Look, for example, at that incident in Orange Walk where the BDF who beat the person to death.
Right.
People were wrong, and instead of people going and helping, they took out their phone and video the whole thing as it occurred.
On that note, Commissioner, there was the other video as well with the two women in the bus terminal and then the policewoman there. What in that circumstances should have been done?
Well, it is difficult for police officers, and I want to strike a fair balance, right? It is difficult for police officers to deal with persons who are mentally challenged.
Right.
You would know that persons who are mentally challenged do not act rational at times, and they can have outbursts and may harm you. But in striking that very delicate balance, I still believe that the officer could have done more. I didn't see her get on her phone to call for backup.
Right.
She was practically in a corner laughing or smiling,
Yes,
as if she was making fun of what was taking place. And for me, that is where she went wrong. I may not have expected her to intervene, because maybe if by intervening she would have been harmed. But at the very least, call for assistance so that assistance can come to help you to deal with the matter. But to have just stand there laughing, I think that that was where she lost it.
All right. And the other incident that I want to touch on, I know your frenemy, Jules, and you had it out the other day.
Yeah.
With these police records that were issued for the immigrants that were caught, no? I just want to educate the public as to how, in those circumstances, is a police record issued.
Okay, a police record is that
and what requirements
you apply for a police record yourself.
Right.
If it is that you cannot go and apply for it yourself, then we require that you write a letter or a note to somebody authorizing that person to apply on your behalf. To apply for a police record, you just need an ID, either a driver's license, a social security card, a passport, and 3 passport size pictures. Now, in order to get a standard ID, a standard police record, you would have to be in the country for a duration of time. And
Could you tell us that time?
Yes. And if it is that you're a visitor to the country, then we would ask that you bring along your passport so we can see the stamp to
Right.
ascertain the regularness of you being in the country. And based on that, then the special police record will then have
Go ahead. So,
the
yeah.
special police record will then have a clause in it which will state exactly how long you've been in the country.
Yeah.
So let's say, for example, let's say Brandon Usher have been in the country for 6 months and his name doesn't appear in our system.
Right.
Now, in the case of this amnesty issue, it is a situation where the government is embarking on regularizing irregular migrants.
Right. Uh-huh.
Yeah.
And so, due to the fact that these are irregular migrants, we cannot ascertain how long they've been in the country.
Right.
So, if we were to issue a special police record to say that they're in the country for 6 months or 4 months, we'll be telling a lie because we have no proof as to that. They have no stamp in their passport to show that, as the case may be. So, based on that, I give the directive to the records office that for persons who are applying for amnesty, we are not going to issue the special police record, we'll issue the regular one because we cannot ascertain the time they have been in the country. And that is the reason why these people are given the regular police record. Now, who can apply? Like I said, you can apply on behalf of Renata, so long as she gives you a letter authorizing you to do so. And let me say that at this time, we're seeing all kind of people coming to apply for police record on behalf of other people. And we have to understand, traveling to Belmopan to get a police record, not everyone may have the money.
Right.
And if it is that there are 4 or 5 of you in a family, then it is best that one person go. You only spend that one passage money as opposed to 4 or 5 of you are going. And it is with that spirit that we are accommodating people. And as much as some people are talking, some of the same people who are talking come and apply for police record for other people. It is a practice we have had. There's nothing wrong with it, so long as you have an authorization letter from the person on whose behalf you're applying.
And in that regard, Chester, you said something just now that, well, you said something in the interview as well, where you have to go by what the people are saying.
Yes.
So if they're saying 6 weeks, is 6 weeks a minimum amount of time that they can apply and get a standard police record?
If we were certain that they're here for 6 weeks, then we would issue the
Special.
special one.
Okay.
But if we were to say to the immigration department, Brandon Usher has been in the country for 6 weeks without no proof that you're here for 6 weeks, we're lying. So while yes, they may say that, we still need to have proof that they're here for that 6 weeks period. And because they're irregular migrants, they don't have no proof because there's no stamp in their
Right.
passport for us to see that they have been here for 6 weeks.
I see that there's one record, and this one on the screen right now is showing that there was no passport number. How then could they have gotten a police record?
Like I said, you can use a social security
normal
card.
ID.
But
You can
wouldn't
use a
they?
driver's license.
But
You can
wouldn't that
use a-
number be
No.
shown there?
Only the passport number would normally put on the police record.
okay? And in terms of applying for something, somebody, you said the authority letter and what's not, were these things, or are these things issued when they brought these police records? Were these things also exhibited
You
to
mean-
show? Because I could say, and I'm thinking, you know what, from all different perspectives here, as we do, I'm seeing how it can be used to facilitate human trafficking.
But
Do
Brandon,
these people know
I,
that they've have had a police record applied?
I
for
don't know
their-
how we get there so easily to human trafficking because
No, I'm like I said, thinking from all different perspectives.
yeah, but you would know that as an attorney, what constitutes human trafficking, and certainly withholding or holding a person police record does not constitute
But maybe
human
the
trafficking.
passport
Yes,
that
passport.
they
No,
need to
but
they need to apply for.
there
these.
is nothing there to say that their passport was withheld. No man said that to the police. And yes, while we have an investigation ongoing to ascertain if
Okay.
in fact there's any element of human trafficking, that investigation have not yielded any such thing at this time. But it's an ongoing investigation. So we cannot put the cart ahead of the horse. We must take things in stride and act based on what we have before us. And certainly, there is nothing there. This whole notion, as was presented by my frenemy, Mr. Vasquez, that this police record put these irregular migrants with 1 foot in and 1 foot out in terms of being regularized, is a total fallacy because at the end of the day, what really counts is that when a person is applying for amnesty, like now, we have beefed up our vetting section at Special Branch because there must be a lot of vetting done. Each and every one of these persons must be vetted individually.
Right.
And the vetting does not only includes what we know about them in Belize, but it also includes doing background check on them in the country that they came from, as well as running Interpol check.
Oh, sorry,
Yes.
in the Interpol itself.
Yes,
Okay.
and at the end of the day, the vetting is going to reveal exactly who these people are. And I am certain that that is the yardstick that the Ministry of Immigration is going to use in terms of regularizing these people, not a police record.
If they do apply.
Yes, you and I
Yeah.
would know, Brandon, that there are many unofficial criminals on our streets, persons who have been accused of committing crime, charged for committing crime, but were never convicted. So I would call them unofficial criminals because they have no conviction. But not because they have no conviction means that they did not do what they did. For the most part, they did it. Just that the court was not able to ascertain their guilt due to non-cooperation of witnesses and these sort of things. And if these persons was to go and apply for a police record, you would find that the record would be clean. And I experience that every day with gun license. People who have been charged for heinous crime apply for gun license, they bring the police record, it's clean. But I'm not guided by the police record, I'm guided by the vetting that Special Branch does, because that is going to encapsulate everything that we know about them. And that is what the yardstick I would normally use in determining whether or not to grant a gun license.
Okay. All right. And in terms of, well, I guess that would be a question for immigration. But
That's why I said, because the only thing, and I remember I mentioned this also when we were talking about this, the police record is not the only thing that they look at for the amnesty. There's several other
things, yes.
documents. So that's the only thing that I was saying that I side in when it comes to the amount of time, because you have to believe whatever they're trying to tell you, because you don't have a passport stamp to
Yes.
document and say, okay, we work here from 17 years ago,
But
5
wouldn't
years ago.
evidence,
So
photographic evidence and things like that come into play?
But that is not a part of the process.
But wouldn't that then spark, because I could just come in yesterday and say I had here for 17 years. I don't have no photographic evidence or any neighbor or anything like that for tell me that, or for tell you as the investigator that I've been here for 17 years,
Brandon,
then you just go
the
by
Criminal
that.
Records Office is not an investigative body. It is not that. For us to tell the Records Office staff that they need to go out and investigate how long a person has been here to issue a police record will be ludicrous. We can't do that. It is something they cannot do. So we have to go by what people are saying. And in the absence of us having a definitive timeline for when they are here, then the prudent thing for us to do is to issue the regular police record.
But then people lie, Chester.
And certainly that's my point.
So, oh no, there's
So
nothing to
you
get
just
through
take
the lies.
you just take their words at face value.
In the absence of certainty, it is best to issue the regular one as opposed to telling lie on a special record to say the person has been here
For a certain
amount of time. That is an outright lie. We can't do that.
Is there going to be anything, because this has stirred up the business, if you want, nonsense or whatever, to say that there is probably an issue when it comes to addressing how long somebody's been here and issuing up. Is there something that maybe you're thinking about putting in place to help this?
Renata, I don't think it is going to tamper with any business or honestness. I think rational people, just as you explained just a while ago, can see that what we're doing is not wrong. And like I said before, we can't tell a lie on a police record. And to issue a special record is not the proper thing to do when we're not certain how long a person has been in the country. Now, if it is that we have proof that the person has been in the country for X number of time, and it falls within the timeline for the special record, then we do so. So any rational thinking person will certainly understand why is it that we issue the regular record as opposed to the special one.
Okay.
But you know your boss make nice out of anything, right?
I mean, the man had valid points, because it watched the idea
If
that...
I were you, I would say that too.
No, because, I mean, Brandon went and said, we're thinking other perspectives of how this could possibly go into human trafficking and so. And I know that seems far-fetched to some people or so, but there is...
These are things that happen.
These are things that can happen because, let's go say, I'm not saying I am... Let the record show I am not a human trafficker in any way, shape, or form, but just saying I am...
Documented on live TV.
This is, oh my gosh. But you know what I'm saying? Hypothetically, in the sense, I try bringing people. I just need to get the IDs and I could just go
and
on.
then police record for employment.
Exactly. So it's quick and simple and easy.
That's where I was going with. Do these people know that police records were were gotten for them. I as a human trafficker, not a human trafficker.
Oh, let the
What do you
record
think?
show
Yes,
now.
let
All
the
of a
record
sudden.
show now.
All of a sudden.
But I, as a human trafficker, I could imagine I would take your passport and you know what? To make it look legitimate, I will take your passport and write up one little letter. You don't know my signature, anything like that. Go to the police station, apply for a police record, and then I have you and I hold your passport and I hold your police record. If anybody come to me, I have.
That certainly could be a possibility. But like I said, in this particular instance, we have done that aspect of our investigation. We have not yielded anything amounting to not even the slightest iota of human trafficking. So it's still an ongoing investigation.
Okay.
It is not done there as yet.
Yeah.
We met as a body, I think it was on Monday, chaired by the Minister of Human Development. And we had the different stakeholders there, police, immigration, border management, agriculture. And this was what we discussed at length.
Okay.
Because we certainly want to ensure that if it is that there are anyone in our country who are involved in human trafficking, that they are properly investigated and dealt with. And the officer in charge of the anti-trafficking person unit, he was also there, who is also a lead investigation in respect to that matter. And he gave the body a brief in terms of where we are with the investigation.
Okay.
And while we have not seen any element of human trafficking, we may have seen some element of child labor.
Okay.
And
That was what I was gonna get to,
that
right?
is the aspect
Yeah.
we're trying to pursue. But again, the victims in this particular instance are no longer in the country because the court have released them to their parents, and their parents have taken them back to Guatemala. So what we're trying to do is to collaborate with our Guatemalan counterparts to see if they can locate them for us, and we will be able to interview them via Skype or whatever means
Okay.
to get the evidence that we need to pursue that angle and see if there's anything there.
Okay. So, that's all right. So let's get back into our beach Easter vibes.
Yes, but thank you also for
Yes,
updates of
that
what's
was
happening
good,
and
yeah.
also knowing, yes, that was the next thing I was going to talk about, but we don't understand that you're going to be investigating,
investigating,
and we're
yeah.
hoping we get updates later on what happened with that scene too as well, because,
Certainly. Yeah.
we need
Pretty
the people
sure
to know what
ACP
happened.
will come and tell
And,
you that.
your friend is going to definitely
Yes,
interview
yeah,
you
yeah,
about
yeah.
that. But come Paul, but Chester, you will get that
I
interview.
just love the communication between them. But right, so Easter safety protocols. Where will policing be happening? What are we expecting?
Specifically for places like, Hopkins, Placencia,
Yes,
Kikaka, San Pedro.
Yes. Certainly, we are aware of all the different favored destinations for Easter. And as Renata had said, the Peninsula, Hopkins, St. Bite, Placencia, Kikaka, San Pedro, and even the West.
Kaya.
Yes, I was just going to say
Cayo
that.
district are places of destination that people normally go for the Easter. And so what we are doing is that we are beefing up our police presence in these areas.
Okay.
We are deploying our specialized units to all of these destinations, again, with a view to ensure we maintain operational presence to target those persons we believe may want to take advantage of the Easter holiday and commit crime against those persons who are trying to enjoy the Easter. Likewise, while we do that, we still cannot neglect policing the other parts of
Within
the
the
country,
faith,
because
right,
while people leave to go and celebrate the Easter elsewhere, they leave their homes unattended and these sort of things, and that also lends opportunity for burglary to occur.
Right.
And so we have to ensure that our policing strategy encompasses a holistic approach to deal with those persons who are moving to celebrate, as well as those who stay home and those who leave their home unattended. So I want to assure the Belizean people that we will have our strong presence across the country. This is not a time for police officers to rest. You know that when holiday come, while the wider population celebrates, the police have to be working 2-3 times harder.
Right.
And this is where we have always said that the job we do is a thankless one, because despite the fact that we don't get to celebrate like ordinary people do, the pressure always on us. And
Definitely.
people tend to give us a bad rap at times when they don't deserve it. And certainly, yes, there are times when they deserve it. But as a resilient organization, we try to do our best to maintain the level of security that we should in order to make our people in this country and those who visit safe.
And in terms of what elements of crime do you see happening more over this time? I could imagine with liquor involved.
Robberies have been one of the main crime we're seeing being committed. And again, perhaps people are looking for money for the Easter, and so they're committing robberies.
Oh, this is pre-Easter.
Yes,
Okay.
pre-Easter. We have the delivery trucks. So we have a number of robberies with those delivery trucks. And we have found out that in some instances, it is an inside job.
I saw the news the other day about the two that called out robbery and then it turned out that nothing happened. So,
Yes,
yeah.
exactly. Yeah. So it is something that we have to look at, and when these things occur, we have to look beyond the surface and try to ascertain if those persons who are claiming robbery were in fact robbed. So it makes the investigation process much more tedious, but we try our best to still get to the bottom of them.
Okay.
What I will let you know too as well is Brandon mentioned that Easter time people will be drinking, so you don't
Certainly,
know possibly that they're going to be brawls and all of these things. And
Yeah.
so mindful of how these police officers are dealing with these civilians, because it's very hard to deal with people that are under the influence.
Yes.
But also we do know that there is certain level of dignity and respect that needs to be maintained during that time. And we know how the cameras are going to be out either way. So
Well, Renata have always said, I don't drink, and I have no sympathy for persons who drink and get drunk. Self-induced drunkenness is no excuse for whatever act you may commit. And if it is that you're drunk, don't expect the police to pamper you. Because, like you said, people who are drunk, their mindset is altered due to alcohol that they have consumed. And they may not act rational. To some extent, they're mentally impaired due to the alcohol. And so the police will also have to approach you with a certain degree of caution to ensure their own personal safety as well. So if you want to drink, stay within your limits. Know how much you can drink.
When you feel yourself to
like
go,
you're going, stop. If you're going to drive, don't drink. If you're going to drink, don't drive. The police will be on the highway in full force as well, doing road policing. And road policing encapsulate not just dealing with traffic offenses, but every aspect of policing, including looking at firearm trafficking, human trafficking, drug trafficking, and those persons who we refer to as transient criminals who move from point A to point B to go and commit crime.
Right.
So we have to be mindful of those persons as well as we conduct road policing. So bear patient with us on the highways. It might take a little longer to get where you're going, but we want to make sure you get where you're going safe. And one of the ways we can do so is to ensure that we have our checkpoints in different parts of the country on the highways to slow you down when you're going too fast.
definitely.
So it seems definitely that Easter, having a job cut out.
Yes, our job is
People are
certainly
working
cut
on
out for us,
overtime.
yes.
If we don't
Yes.
put off on it, the police officers on hot cross bun, want to sit there, I would have said off on it because they work overtime and they might not get that option to
Yeah.
as well. But is there any, as we're wrapping up this segment, Kamal, is there any advice or any, comments, messages you want to give to the public out there? Because I know, like you mentioned, and it's so true that police officers work on overtime for Easter while we don't have good time.
And we don't get paid overtime.
Exactly.
Right.
And which is so upsetting, to be
Yeah.
honest. I feel like they deserve more than
Yeah.
that. But just the idea of how you think the message should be going out for them, what they should be mindful of when they're out there. Because we want to have fun, but we also want to have good, clean fun.
Yeah.
And so we don't have to make the police officers' head one nightmare. Please and thank you for people out there. But any messages you want to give to the public?
Well, again, like you rightly said, Renata, I ask the public to, whenever you engage the police, to kind of do so with respect. And certainly we expect that the police is going to respond in like manner. Now, we know that there are times when police, sometimes the power tend to get to them. And you may try to approach them with respect and they may go off. Try not to follow yourself with them. I think times have changed where everything you're doing now is being video recorded. And
Yes.
once those video comes to us, we always ensure we address them as swiftly as we can. And at the end of the day, we have to ensure that we work together. Safety and security is the business of everybody. And we can't expect that the police will be able to protect every single citizen in this country. And that's the reason why we ask that you look after your own personal safety. The police provide security in general, but when it comes to your personal safety, that's a matter for you. I heard you discussing the issue of Mahogany Heights earlier. And again, that's a soaring area for us, and we're trying to see how best we can address it as swiftly as we can. 3 shootings in less than a week is too much for a small community like Mahogany Heights, and so we're making some adjustments in that area. And you rightly pointed out that one of the issues we're having is that there are too much dark spots. And so we are now teaming up with BL. We have wrote to them asking that if they can put lights in these areas that are dark, and certainly it's going to enhance security for the people there, as well as enhance our policing ability of the area. And so we're optimistic that very soon those dark areas will be well lit and will provide greater safety for people. We have the the few gang incidents in Belize City that we're dealing with as well. And again, we ask the citizenry to work with us. I know when crime occur, we hear, then a call for the minister head, then a call for this one head. That's not the answer to the problem. The crime problem is bigger than the minister, it's bigger than the commissioner of police, it's bigger than the prime minister. It's a problem for every single Belizean.
Right.
We have to play our role to ensure that we reduce crime in this country. And if we don't see that, then something is wrong with us.
Definitely.
If you move the minister and put another minister, the crime will not done. If you move the commissioner,
we had
the
this
crime will not
exact
done.
conversation.
Your friend
So-
even said this, by the way.
Yeah, so it's a complex issue. And we have to be real and we have to be fair to whoever the holder of the office is. Because under the previous administration, we have the same issues. And as I pointed out to Mr. Vasquez, and I trust that he have done his homework, and he would have seen that under my tenure as commissioner, the past 3 years, the murder rate is lower than the years before me, even though we have increased population, we have increased poverty, increased unemployment, and the tendency for people violence have increased tremendously. We have been able to maintain the murder rate at a certain level as opposed to before. And it is something that we're going to continue to do.
Right.
So it is not an overnight thing. There are several things we're doing to address the crime issue from a multi-sectoral standpoint. And it is not going to bear fruits immediately. When you grow a mango tree, it takes years to bear. You
Right.
grow a coconut tree, it takes years to bear. And it's the same thing with what we're doing
Right.
now. We are putting in place a mechanism to ensure that we address crime from every angle. But it is not going to bear the fruits that we want overnight.
That's-
In the time
all we
being,
need for-
we continue to work on our suppression efforts. We continue to work on investigation efforts with a view to deal with those persons against whom we have evidence have committed crime, because that too is an element of prevention. If you can catch the suspect and put him behind bars, that's a preventative method. So we're trying to increase or improve those areas that we have control over now, while the holistic approach takes
So
place.
in closing this segment, I have two questions here, two rapid questions, right? And I know you're gonna laugh at the second one. But our viewer here is asking if you could comment about the police riding their motorcycles without helmet, but yet ticketing people who are doing the same without helmets.
Certainly, there should be no double standard. And I have given instructions to commanders across the country that while we do have motorcycles for police officers to work on, to discharge their duty, they must abide by the law.
Right.
When I was in Eastern Division and we find police officers doing that, we ticket them.
So what
Because
should the
they should
person
not.
do that's being ticketed?
Well, that does not mean that they do not commit an offense. They still commit an
Right.
offense.
But
So
against the
there's
police.
nothing wrong in the police ticketing that person. But the police officer, to some extent, is being hypocritical because you're doing the same.
Exactly.
And what they can do, if they have evidence, maybe a photograph of the police officer not wearing a helmet, then send it to us and we're going to deal with it.
All right.
Because we have provided helmets for every police officer who rides motorcycle.
Okay.
We provide a helmet for them.
So second question, hun. All right. You ready for this one? Because you gave some beautiful words today. You're profiling like a politician. With all this thing, you know,
Watch
and
how bright his smile gets.
you know, your attributes and your you know, everything. Are you using these credentials to eventually parlay your way into the political arena?
You just step up into that
Hi, I
politics.
tell you, me I laugh. I tell you, me I
Watch
laugh.
out.
I have to laugh.
It is blush now.
I feel like I never saw so much of your teeth before in my life. Watch out.
Brandon,
Aha.
I don't know, but
Is this you running for politics here?
I was going like 100 miles per hour there.
Good.
To answer your question, I am focused now on my job as a commissioner of police. I'm not going to say that I may not have ambition to perhaps look down the road at whatever, whether politics, whether private practice, whatever. I believe that I am a multi-talented person. And so when I finish with policing, which I've said I've given myself to January of 2024, when I'm done with that, then I'll decide in my mind what I'm going to do then. And certainly if I go into politics, it will be a matter of what the people want me to do. If they think that I can serve them well as a politician, then I certainly will. And I do believe that my experience in public service, and particularly my record as commissioner of police, having a law degree and an attorney at law, will help me in terms of if or when that time should come. So to answer your
Okay.
question at this time, I am not certain, but time will tell.
All right,
But what
there
we are
we go.
certain of, though, is Kampal, apparently, guys, by credible sources, he scored a goal yesterday for
Yes. You have Team CO against Team Compol.
Uh-huh.
And you know, the CO is a very bragging man.
Okay,
to some
like
extent-
you're not.
Well,
like
we
you're
know,
not.
we know
To
this.
some extent, he can be very conceited at times.
We know this.
And before the game started, he was like, Compol, well, today I will trash your 4-zip. At Lowell CO, well, today we'll decide when the game done.
Uh-huh.
And like 12 minutes into the game, I scored the first goal. Right?
They never give you that back.
No, man, I scored that.
He didn't give waiting,
And
so we can't
no,
fact check it out.
the funny thing, Brandon, is that the referee was appointed by the CO. After I scored my goal, someone I had the referee had a penalty. Right? And awarded the CO team a penalty, and CO kicked the penalty and scored the penalty. Right? So the man scored a goal on an illegal or unlawful penalty.
Okay, this is a
You
live
gotta
coming
trash
out.
talk. You gotta
Uh-huh.
trash talk.
In the
over there.
second half, we scored another goal, and so my team won 2-1.
Okay.
But I'm going to be fair to CO. I'm going to give him a rematch, and I'm going to invite Channel 7 to video the whole
Good.
game.
No, we
Good.
would definitely. Hopefully, a friend of me wants to video this thing. I think so because nobody believes you now, Kampal. Nobody.
I don't
believes
care
about
who
this
don't
thing.
believe I know I scored my
We
goal.
don't trust you, so we have to be able to see this. We want to see you to run through, like you know, you saying, but we want
Look
to
at
see you
this
to do
the
it.
picture that's told me the run.
We can't say anything.
Come on.
That picture coming again.
I mean, the word
Like,
is strong
for last
man
school
shirt,
days, we don't know
guys.
what it is.
In a very strong man shirt. I hope you enjoy your Easter.
Yes.
To all the police officers out there that are going to be working overtime and not being paid overtime, we truly appreciate your service to this country. Thank you so much for all your efforts. I know it sometimes feels like it goes unnoticed, but we truly thank you for all the hard work you put into it. And so I hope our citizens out there, when you're approaching or talking or confronting the police officers, we behave with respect and we're able to have a harmonious relationship. And so with that, stay safe for Easter, guys. And Kampal, we thank you for your time being here. We're supposed to play the whole volleyball thing with you, because we want to check if you're good.
I'm good at that too, you know.
Next video session.
Next video session, we'll see what happened, guys. But with that, we thank you again for your time, and we go to our next commercial break. But when we are back, we're going to be dealing with the same hot cross buns we are telling you how we're supposed to give to the police officers. And I know a lot of people might not know how to make it or what is it about, but come on, guys. We have the Jaron's Bakery coming in to tell us a little bit about hot cross buns for this Easter. Stay tuned for that exciting conversation. And will there be a demonstration? Will we be eating buns? Let's find out.
Can I stay for the eating segment?